Thank you for plugging into this Family Life News podcast, streaming issues-driven, family-focused news.
This is Faith Under Fire. Each Thursday on Family Life, we give voice to religious battlegrounds in this nation. I'm your host, Tracy Lynn. With us today, attorney Joe Davis with Beckett Law. A U.S. Court of Appeals recently ruled that the Biden administration cannot force Christian doctors to perform sex reassignment surgeries. Joe, would you unpack for us how this case even got started?
Sure. This case got started back in 2016 when the Obama administration issued a new rule that was supposedly an interpretation of the Affordable Care Act. And what the rule said was it's sex discrimination to be a healthcare professional if you won't perform and ensure gender transition procedures. So you have to either actually be involved in these procedures yourself. If you would perform like other similar types of procedures, you have to do gender transitions, or you run the risk of losing all of your federal funding. So we're talking about crippling financial penalties. So this is a radical rule and a huge problem for many, many doctors who have not only religious objections to these sorts of procedures, but also medical objections. They don't think that the data supports them. So this case started in 2016. A group of Catholic hospitals and a university sued the administration. There was a parallel case in Texas involving the Christian Medical and Dental Associations, which is a nationwide organization of Christian doctors. And they sued the administration, saying that this rule violated their religious freedom, this interpretation of the statute violated their religious freedom. And they won that case and got very broad and robust protection.
Excellent. So what does this Eighth Circuit Court of Appeals ruling mean for other faith-based doctors and hospitals around the nation?
It's an enormous win. The court in this case said that you can't make religious healthcare professionals perform these procedures. And it entered what's called an injunction, which tells the government you cannot attempt to force them to do this at any point going forward. It's a permanent injunction, long-standing relief. So it's a major win for the healthcare professionals that were involved in this case. It's also an important precedent for every other doctor in the country that has religious and medical objections to being involved in these sorts of procedures.
Yeah, thank you for pointing out the details on this. Joe, we're continuing to see the clash between the rights of LGBT people and religious liberty. It's showing up in the so-called Respect for Marriage Act that was passed by Congress, signed into law just this week, and the recent case before the Supreme Court where a Colorado website designer doesn't want to violate her core beliefs by celebrating a same-sex wedding. What advice do you have for listeners in the days ahead as these battles come to our own neighborhoods?
Yeah, my advice would be to take heart. I think what the win in this healthcare case goes to show, and what some other recent legal victories go to show, is that there are robust protections for people of faith in this country, and that the courts are usually willing to stand up for them. So I think people of faith, maybe faced with these conflicts, should take heart and should be courageous in living out their faith.
Excellent. And is there anything else we can do to be proactive in protecting what God values in our own lives and communities?
Yeah, I think the way to be proactive is to really understand what you believe and what the lines are, what you can do and what you can't do. And once you understand that and sort of stick to it, consistency can be really important when it comes to standing up for your rights in these areas. And again, I think it's just about having that courage to know what you believe and then to stick by it.
Joe, where can we learn more about this case and other battles the Beckett team is working on?
You can read all about the work that we do on our website, which is beckettlaw.org. We're also on social media, Twitter, @Beckett Law.
That's attorney Joe Davis with Beckett Law. I'm Tracy Lynn, Family Life News.